Welcome to my talk on Shimming-Toolbox, an open source software package for performing real-time B-Not shimming experiments. I'll start by stating that I have no financial interests or relationships to disclose with regard to the subject matter of this presentation. As MRI static fields get increasingly stronger, reducing B-Not inhomogeneities becomes more important but also challenging. When standard active shimming on commercial systems is insufficient for researchers' needs, alternative approaches such as external shim or hybrid AC/DC coils can be used. To perform advanced shimming experiments, a proper software ecosystem is required. Here we introduce the Shimming-Toolbox, an open source software package for performing and prototyping static, dynamic, and real-time B-Not shimming experiments. It aims to make research more transparent and more reproducible. To give you an idea of how Shimming-Toolbox fits in the workflow of an imaging session, here is an overview. We start at the MRI computer, which is connected to the Shimming-Toolbox laptop using an Ethernet socket connection to access the images as they are reconstructed. Field maps and other relevant acquisitions are then acquired and sent to the Shimming-Toolbox laptop. Other accessories, such as respiratory bellows, are also connected. Shimming-Toolbox can then process the data to compute B-Not field maps, create masks, perform shimming calculations, and output the results to the MRI console. After computing shimming coefficients, the imaging experiments can then start. Shimming-Toolbox is written in Python and comes with documented APIs and a set of useful command line interface. The Shimming-Toolbox is designed to be used on the command line with simple calls to the different functions. All this processing can be automated via simple bash scripts. We also developed a graphical user interface as a plugin to the software FSLIs. That way, users can, for example, perform quality control of the unmarked field maps, verify shimming region of interest, and validate the estimated and acquired shimmed images. To demonstrate a use case of Shimming-Toolbox, a real-time z-shimming experiment was performed. Real-time z-shimming aims to reduce respiration-related B-Not variation, which is problematic for lower brain and spinal cord imaging. The idea is to associate the respiratory trace of an individual with the magnetic field changes. After processing, compensation gradients along the slice selection axis are applied to offset both static, also known as dynamic shimming, and the time-varying magnetic field inhomogeneities. Here's an overview of the real-time z-shimming workflow. We start with a training session where the pressure and field maps are acquired. The data is then sent to the Shimming-Toolbox's computer. Then, Shimming-Toolbox's optimizer computes a time series of z-gradient maps. A linear regression is then computed between the field gradient and the pressure. During the imaging session, a dummy gradient echo scan is run in order to obtain the target image, which is also sent to the Shimming-Toolbox laptop. The z-gradient maps are resampled onto the target gradient echo images, and GZ static and C coefficients for each slice are sent to the scanner. A custom real-time z-shimming gradient echo sequence is then run. An experiment that uses the real-time z-shimming scenario was performed on a mechanical Lego Phantom. To simulate the respiration, a small oscillating ferromagnetic object touching a respiratory bellow was used. We compared two gradient echoes, one without shimming and one with the real-time z-shimming. We can see on the axial image the drastic decrease in ghosting. Residual ghosting is still visible and is caused by B-Not variation during the readout of each echo. One way to mitigate this would be to employ external shim coils that can be modulated in real time. Ghosting was evaluated by computing the percent signal ghosting. Overall, we observed a 50% decrease in ghosting across slices and echo times. But most importantly, Shimming-Toolbox easily accommodated the real-time z-shimming experiment. To conclude, Shimming-Toolbox is an open source platform to perform static, dynamic, and real-time B-Not shimming experiments. The Shimming-Toolbox was tested for proof of concept with a real-time z-shimming experiment, which showed a 50% decrease in ghosting artifacts. We are actively working to improve the toolbox. Future work includes support for color geometry in the pumpkin format, coverage of additional shimming scenarios such as dual ROI shimming for ASL application, and support for more field unwrapping algorithms such as quality-guided phase unwrapping, Segway, and Romeo. I'd like to thank our contributors and people who helped with this project. Thanks for watching.